Quentin Grimes is frustrated again. The first time he was frustrated, they moved him to the bench. Now it seems like they're going to trade him. According to an NBA insider, due to these frustrations, the Knicks are actively, aggressively trying to move Quentin Grimes in a deal. We're going to break down this report and so much more today. So be sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Quentin Grimes' trade is absolutely incoming. For weeks, the Knicks have been having exploratory talks with different teams trying to make a trade. Now, I've thought that they were going to include Grimes, but there have been no reports about it until recently, where Fred Katz from The Athletic stated that the Knicks were fielding offers for Grimes, and now we know why. The reason they're fielding offers for Grimes is because Grimes is frustrated with his role yet again. Even after the OG Anunoby trade that sent RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley to the Toronto Raptors, and we thought that that was going to unlock Quentin Grimes and give him more playing time. Instead, Miles McBride looks better, Dante DiVincenzo looks better, but Grimes, he still does not look good at all. And now it seems the New York Knicks know about his frustrations and they're actively trying to move him. Shout out to Steph Bondy of the New York Post for giving us the following information. The Knicks, per sources, are aware of Grimes' frustration and are actively trying to move him before the February 8th trade deadline. With the unlikelihood of a blockbuster deal materializing until the summer, the Knicks, according to teams negotiating with New York, are focused on acquiring a ball handler. McBride has impressed, but is viewed more as an undersized two-guard and a big man because, among other reasons, Mitchell Robinson's near future remains in flux. NBA insider with Hoops Hype Michael Scotto reported recently that the New York Knicks are primarily dangling the expiring contract of Evan Fournier and the young asset of Quentin Grimes and draft pick compensation for a potential upgrade. Steph Bondy also notes that there's a willingness per sources to take on multi-year deals for the New York Knicks that could potentially be packaged later on in another blockbuster deal. A source close to the Knicks said the Mavericks have expressed interest in Quentin Grimes. The Hawks, who are positioned to be active before the trade deadline, would be a strong fit if they trade DeJounte Murray. There is no shortage of teams looking for a plug-and-play and 3-and-D wings. Grimes was supposed to adopt Quickley's role after the trade. That also didn't happen. Grimes' frustration began to affect his defense, which is normally his bread and butter. So here we are. And of course, we got to give it to my guy Ian Begley from SNY, also an NBA insider, who not only confirms what Steph Bondy states, he doubles down on it. This is what Ian Begley has to say in regards to the context of the New York Knicks taking calls on Quentin Grimes. The Knicks are seeking another ball handler / playmaker to bolster their offense. They lost some playmaking when they moved Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett in a trade to acquire OG Anunoby. New York is also looking at other positions, but a ball handler / playmaker is a focus. The Knicks are looking at players who are under contract in 2024 to 2025, in part because they could include that player in an off-season trade. But New York isn't solely focused on players under contract through 2024-2025. The club has at least one player on an expiring deal on its radar at the deadline. We reported earlier on this channel a few days ago that Quentin Grimes potentially was going to get traded by the New York Knicks. So if you're wondering, if you're asking me, am I surprised about the news that Quentin Grimes potentially is going to get traded even more now that the fact that we know he's frustrated? No, absolutely not. And honestly, him being frustrated is not a surprise. He's still playing around the same minutes and having the same type of impact and production even after the Knicks moved on from Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. Miles McBride is a little bit more impactful and effective more than Quentin Grimes is. After seeing that, noticing that, and clearly knowing that when you're a player that's competitive and you want to have an impact on a team and you're not having that impact, you're going to be frustrated. Knowing all of that, this news doesn't surprise me. However, now that I know Quentin Grimes is on the table, now that I know he's frustrated, and now that I know that the New York Knicks are looking to move Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, and picks, it's already understood and stated. The Hawks want picks, they want a young asset, And again, the salaries to match, Evan Fournier makes $18.8 million. DeJounte Murray makes $18.2 million. Perfect. And by the way, if you want to include AJ Griffin in that deal, he fits in perfectly to the Obi Toppin trade exception. Boom, boom. That's the move to make, guys. That's the one they got to make. In my opinion, if you're Atlanta, you pick up the phone and you say, please trade with me, because there is no way they're getting a better offer than that for DeJounte Murray right now. I've seen all the reports. I've read them all. I've analyzed them all. The Lakers are out. The Hawks want Austin Reeves. The Lakers said, see ya, bye. I'm not giving him up for him. So that's gone. And then you had the Heat somewhat involved. Now they're potentially gone. The teams that were potentially involved and wanted to trade for DeJounte Murray, they're likely not on the table anymore. I've even read the reports that the Brooklyn Nets right now may not even be on the table anymore to trade for DeJounte Murray, given what their record is. There's a lot of moving parts to this, but what I can say right now is that DeJounte Murray's value is likely going to continue to go down for the Hawks because everybody knows that they want to move him. And because of that fact, they're likely not going to give up a lot of assets for that type of player. So the Knicks may have the best offer available on the table. And like I said in previous videos, it may not be about what the Hawks want. It may be best offer at the time. And if the Knicks have the best offer, then they get Murray, in my opinion. And if you can get AJ Griffin in that deal and steal him away, the Knicks are winning this deal absolutely. Fournier doesn't want to be here. Number one, we're not utilizing him. Move him. Grimes, frustrated, doesn't want to be here, wants to be in another squad. Okay, move him. Get some of those protected picks that we have, put him in that package, in that deal, and get Murray on this roster. Now, maybe it takes an unprotected pick. If it does, I'll give them the Knicks unprotected pick for this year because the Dallas pick is going to convey, and I'll use that pick to draft another player for my bench. And then I own all of my picks moving forward, and I also own a lot of protected picks moving forward, meaning I can make another trade in the future with all of the assets that I have. And under Thibs, Murray's value is going to skyrocket. He's going to become better. He's going to be a better defender. And if the Knicks can flip Murray and a couple of other players and picks for that star or superstar player that they've long been waiting for, I think all of this will be a win in the long run for the New York Knicks. All of these moves, in my opinion, if the Knicks do it, are win moves. You add Murray, it helps you now and in the future. The future part is that star that you want. And that's exactly what you want to do if you're the New York Knicks. You want to help yourself now, position yourself in a position right now to make some noise in the playoffs. Adding Murray does that. And then potentially using Murray, other contracts, and other picks to get the superstar you've always wanted. To me, it sounds like a very, very good plan. But will Leon Rose and the New York Knicks do that? Will they actually make that deal, make that plan, and try to make this move? That's the whole thing on the table right now, because a lot of other reports would indicate as well that while the New York Knicks are looking at DeJounte Murray, they're also looking at a lot of other players, and their price point on those players are a little bit lower. And at times, with Leon Rose, you know him just like I do, fans. He likes to go after the cheap deals that would help the Knicks get better now, but doesn't kill their assets so they can still use them in the offseason to trade for the star that they really want. And if that's the case, then I'm looking at a few players right now that would be low value, low cost additions that would help this Knicks team immediately. If the Knicks are only looking to give up very little assets and get a player of significance back, then they have to look at the Washington Wizards and they have to pry away Tyus Jones. Because in my opinion, and according to Zach Lowe as well from ESPN, he mentioned that potentially Tyus Jones, if we go into February, could be worth multiple second-round picks. If I just have to give up multiple second-round picks to get Tyus Jones, somebody who was killing it in Memphis, who is having career highs right now with the Washington Wizards, I'm doing that deal every day. He'll come off the bench for the New York Knicks. He'll allow Jalen Brunson to rest. He'll make this Knicks team better, and he'll help them be even more competitive in the playoffs. Everybody wins in that scenario, including the Memphis Grizzlies. But not only that, the Knicks still keep so many of their assets for next summer to make sure they get that star that they want. Everything that they want to do makes sense if they add Tyus. There's other players that, well, they can target, but if they target those players, it's likely they're going to give up a first round pick. And that is a very lucrative asset, especially in this day and age. The other report that I read was about Malcolm Brogdon, and that had to do with the fact that the New York Knicks could potentially be looking to trade for him as well. However, the report indicated that the Knicks would have to give up a first round pick to get Brogdon. And in my opinion, if it's between Brogdon and Tyus Jones, and I have to pick one of them to choose, I'm going to choose Tyus Jones. He even has experience with Tom Thibodeau playing for him in Minnesota. And if I can get his value up with the New York Knicks, then I can still do what I want to do with him that I potentially wanted to do with Malcolm Brogdon. Get Tyus Jones' value up and use him in a trade in the future for a potential all-star that I can get on this roster and help this Knicks team get better. That's the ultimate goal. And if that's the case, I think Tyus Jones does that just as much as Malcolm Brogdon will. And I think Tyus Jones might cost less. We have to think about that when we're making these type of deals. Because if the players that we want are no longer on the board, we can't just be desperate and rush to make another deal. For me, DeJounte is that guy. He's that player. He checks all the boxes. The Knicks must trade for him, especially if you're dangling Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, and a couple of first-round picks. Newsflash, that's exactly what the Hawks want. So give the Hawks what they want because it's exactly what you want to give up anyways. Get DeJounte Murray on this team. Hopefully you can pry away AJ Griffin, get him on this team as well too. Turn this Knicks team into a contender if you make that move, and let's see what we can do in the playoffs. That's what I want to see. If these are the players available, if this is what we want to move, Leon Rose, Worldwide West, Gerson Rosa, brain trust of the New York Knicks. Make the call. Make the move. Get Murray and get AJ Griffin on this roster. And if you do that, I'm not saying anything. Nobody's saying anything anymore. We're happy, we're praising, and we cannot wait until the playoffs come. But what about you guys? What do you think about this report that Quentin Grimes is again frustrated with his role with the New York Knicks? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.